Get the calm before the storm, big fella.
Take a breath.
Good morning and welcome to the Peter Jackson VFL Love the Game Grand Final press conference today with Casey Demons and the Box Hill Hawks. Casey finished the season in second spot, 16 wins and 4 defeats, and Box Hill in 6th with 15 wins and 6 defeats. Met on 2 occasions this season. In round 6 it was a victory at home to Casey, and in round 20 it was Box Hill Hawks turning the tables. This weekend's grand final will be broadcast live on Channel 7, the broadcast starting at 3 o'clock, and also our broadcast partners for the weekend, 3WBC, Casey Radio, ABC and Macquarie Radio as well. Please welcome today to our press conference from Casey Demons, Coach Jade Rawlings and Captain Jack Hutchins, and from the Box Hill Hawks, Coach Chris Newman and Captain Andrew Moore. We'll open it up to the media. Coaches, how are you feeling leading up to the grand final this week?
A lot of interest by the sound.
Fairly quiet.
There you go.
Yeah, obviously really excited to get the opportunity to play here. It's been an enjoyable.
Any extra plans for someone like that who's in great form, obviously?
Yes, to be decided. We've got the option of bringing Mitch King in, who's played for most part of this year for us, and we've obviously had to improvise between McKildy Lafau, Tim Smith and Cameron Patterson, which has worked reasonably well for us. But Pitney, I thought, was outstanding in the game against Williamstown the weekend, and yeah, I think he looks like an AFL ruckman every time he plays VFL. So it's a real strength of Box Hills, and yeah, we've got a fair bit of work to do to work out the best method and the best contingency to be able to compete against him.
Mitch is a real live chance to come back in after missing the previous 2 finals.
Absolutely, and we've said to all the guys that our selection policy has been for that week. There's been no line put through anyone or judgments been made. It's such a challenging competition of VFL to have your best side. Just as you think you've got it one week, it changes the next week, and we'll be dependent on AFL selection as well as to what the composition of our side will be. So we'll be right to the wire with what our team looks like up until Saturday.
Who do you have in line to potentially come back in? Angus Scott, from an unlisted perspective, obviously has been good for a couple of years, and also Pat McKenna, who didn't play last week. Where's he at? Yeah,
McKenna was training today. That's why I was slightly late arriving here. We wanted to make sure he was able to train and get through fully. So based on what I saw, I think he'll be available for selection. Angus Scott's obviously a senior player that we could consider. I think Goy Locke is someone that we'd also have a good look at, and we've obviously got an appeal for a suspension that we believe we have a very strong case for with Dion Johnston. So slight distraction, but by Wednesday night we'll know whether Dion's available, and then we'll make selection decisions based around that.
How much of a distraction is it with Dion and having to fight that case tonight? Yeah,
it's not massive. We've got good people taking care of it, and the decision will be upheld or he'll be suspended and miss out, and we'll move on from there. But he's a valuable player for us, and I thought that what our club went through yesterday to come to the decision to appeal was the right call, and take the decision, the verdict tonight, and move on.
Chris, I suppose you'd say finished 6th, just got through in their first final with Ollie kicking the goal with about a second to go, and then on the weekend it was probably only about 6 inches in it with that last kick of the game. Do you feel like the footy gods might be on your side a little bit at the moment?
Yeah, there were sliding doors moments, weren't they? In that first game, probably had control for a majority of the game, and then when it counted in that second half, we lost control, and Port Melbourne are really hard to stop when they get momentum, especially on their home ground. So for the ability for the boys to hang in there and have that belief that they could still score, I must admit I was sceptical. Made my way down to the bench and heard that there was 25 seconds to go with a stoppage inside our defensive 50. It's not likely you're going to get all the way through and score, and they just keep finding a way. So the weekend was the same. Felt like Williamstown probably controlled a majority of the first half. We controlled a majority of the second, had our opportunities late, just didn't take those opportunities when we had them. And then able to hang on, he kicks that goal, they go through, but fortunately he missed, so here we are now.
Those young forwards, Ollie Hanrahan, as I just mentioned, has had a terrific final series, not just that first game, and Dylan Moore last week stepping up with 4 goals to help get you back into the game and then over the line. Yeah,
really important for multiple goal scorers, and those guys have contributed really well, particularly to the back end of the season. Dylan Moore played a majority of the wing throughout the season and has made his way into a small forward, and he had never played the wing position. We thought we got the best out of him in that position, and then we threw him forward, and it's something that was foreign to him as well. He's used to playing on ball, as most under-18s players are when they come into the competition, but he's managed to have a pretty good game on the weekend. He's elite with his stamina and his ability to work up and down the ground, so he feels like that's his main strength, so he'll continue to work really hard throughout the game. And Ollie's one of those ones that can go on ball and play forward as well, and we've been really happy with the progression from Ollie this year. He adds a different dynamic to our midfield, so we like to put him in there on occasion, and can also hit the scoreboard when he goes forward. So he provides some real strong energy, both of those guys do, which is really important for our group.
Chris, has it been decided how many, if any, Hawthorn players from last Friday night could fold back for Sunday?
It hasn't been decided yet. We've got to sort of work through what our best fit is for this week. As Jade was saying before, it's really difficult week to week. You have to make these decisions on the fly a little bit, and the dynamic of the team changes quite a bit. If we can keep the team reasonably sound without too many changes, that would be probably ideal. But we've got another training session tomorrow night, and a few things need to fall in place in terms of selection. But there's a few available.
Is it just the four in Mirror, Warple, Nash and Show Makers who are available at coming?
Yep. Those guys will be putting their hands up. They're all willing to play. It's just a matter of whether it's the best fit for us.
Does the venue, Chris, decide a change at all from Port Melbourne to here? As in, do you go tour?
No, probably not. I think we like to think our system can hold up in any sort of conditions, and the dynamic of the team, whether it's tall forward or small forward, sometimes it's out of our hands. You have to sort of have a system in place to be able to cater for both things. So, on any given time throughout the year, Segler might come back into the team. You have to try and fit and adjust. So, I don't think the venue bears any part on our selection. It'll just be the best fit for each position on the ground.
Jade, how many players do you think would be worthy of AFL selection at the moment from that Casey team, given perhaps if there's an injury?
AFL list or VFL list?
AFL list.
One of the things that we've been really pleased with them back end of the year in particular is that I reckon we've had 6 to 8 players who are genuinely in contention to be able to play. So I think the emergency list last week were Joel Smith, Jaden Hunt, Tim Smith, you got Cameron Pedersen, Tom Bugg, Jeffy. So there's quite a number of guys. I think he's played to a level that you could play him at AFL if called upon. Burnie played reasonably well on the weekend, so the depth has increased significantly, and obviously there's a carrot there for our AFL listed guys with the situation that we're in, being in a prelim final and obviously hoping to progress. So the AFL readiness of a lot of our AFL lists we've been really pleased with, especially in the last 6 to 8 weeks.
How important is that depth, you think, from both AFL and VFL perspective in both clubs or sides to rise up the ladder?
That's the only way you sit here today, is that the depth. We've got great character amongst our AFL lists and a lot of guys who have contributed at various stages and then gone upwards. Billy Stretch, Sam Wiedemann, Sam Frost spring to mind, that played good blocks of form at VFL before they went up to AFL, and then the depth of VFL list, you've got a captain like Hutchins and Munro, the way he plays. Lockhart and Wagner have been standouts this year, so we've been able to give good depth, and I think that's contributed to our consistency of competitiveness over the course of the year.
Has there been much build-up from the old Springdale side of the club, given it's been 19 years since there's been a premiership up there?
Look, I think everyone's sort of aware of, I think the beauty with our group is that everyone sort of really buys into the history of where the club's come from and that sort of thing. It hasn't been too much of sort of focusing on that sort of instance of how long it's been, but we certainly sort of buy into that, and I guess everyone's just looking forward to the opportunity. As I said, this is the reason why we sort of play, and to get the opportunity to perform at this time of year and get a chance to win a flag is really exciting.
And your own form's been good, a different sort of role at times this year after missing the first half of the year with that injury, a bit of time forward. You enjoyed getting up there and kicking a few goals?
Yeah, certainly different from what I've been used to in the past. But I think, as again reflecting of the group, we've got a lot of flexibility, and guys can play different roles. And I've just been really lucky to be able to add that as well. So if we need to go forward or back, I can do that and comfortably do that. So again, it's one of those things we just we look to see what the matchups are doing and whether we need to. But I think having that flexibility is really important this time of year.
Could some of your AFL listers be on limited minutes on Sunday, Jay, particularly depending on result?
To be decided, Toby. Yeah, there's a lot to play out over the weekend. Sunday game, if AFL make it through for a Saturday the following week. But one of the things that's made my job far easier this year is the genuine support from Simon Goodwin, the coaches, and Josh Marnie, head of footy, that I don't get my strings pulled too tight. There's every now and then, and I'm sure Newey's the same, you'll get a recommendation from your senior coach or the match committee of where you'd like a player to play. But ostensibly on game day, we're left to our own devices, support if you need it. But there are times, generally coming back from injury, where minutes are a factor and how you have to manage those players. But to be decided once Saturday unfolds.
Andrew, I'll try and get the pronunciation right. Jankwath Jaya.
Yeah, CJ for simple, yeah.
Your thoughts about him? He seems to be a talented young guy who seems to read the play really well and has provided some good drive for you in the finals in particular.
Yeah, CJ's. I really think he's coming to his element. Obviously, as the years progressed, he's a talented young player, and I'm looking forward to see what he can produce over the next coming years. And but he does. He creates that spark in our team, but and sort of builds it up off that half back line. But obviously, having that flexibility in his game as well to potentially go forward and play on that wing is really important with his game.
In your own form, you've had a pretty good year. So a couple of little rests, but you'd be pretty happy with how you've been going on a personal level. Yeah,
I've really enjoyed this year. It's been a bit of a different role for myself, obviously, becoming a leader of the club. I've approached this year with a little bit of a different mindset. It's not necessarily my own performance that I'm worried about. It's more about the team performance, and it's been challenging, but I've loved that role and that challenge, and I think that's probably helped with my performance in a way. Not being so sort of worried about your own. You're sort of worried about the outcome of the game and making sure we end the game in front.
And both yourself and Jack, you've been off AFL lists for a few years now. Are you still holding out any sort of hope of a second chance if you have a big performance out here on a big stage on Sunday?
Yeah, I was stepping into the VFL system from the AFL system. Wasn't necessarily an option for me, well, to in my mind to get another second chance. It is more just I still believe I can still play at this at a decent level, and I love challenging myself, and that was sort of my mindset coming back into Melbourne, but obviously in that VFL system.
Yeah, similar to Moore, it's the standard of VFL footy is so great that you do get that challenge of playing the highest standard you can, and I think also finding the balance between it's not a professional environment, so you need work away from football as well. So that's a real challenge, and it's great that we're able to sort of, I guess, both of us are challenging ourselves in that way. And I think the beauty is from that point of view is that we're here at this time of year and fighting for a premiership spot, and that's the goal.
How did you find the change? This could be for all of you, but particularly you, Jack, with not having the development league this year. When you were coming back from injury, you, I suppose, got to go home and play a couple of games for Mansfield. Did you find that a good, I suppose, circuit breaker for you, or something different? Would you have preferred to have been still at Casey when you're coming back through?
Yeah, look, it's just a different scenario. I was certainly a big advocate for the development league, but again, it's not there. And as you said, the beauty was I got to go back and play local back at Mansfield and play with some guys that I haven't played with since old school days, high school days. So I think everyone's approached it in a way that you still you can still get what you need to out of those leagues, and it's great for the local clubs as well to have that have guys come and play with them that are training in a VFL environment. So it still works out really well. And from Casey's end, I think the guys have bought into it really well. And still create that culture that they are, part of that Casey squad, even though some of them have been playing local for most of the year. Hopefully we can create that environment that they do feel part of it and everyone's sort of all in it for one.
Joe, young Tom Freeman, he to me is just his development's been enormous in the last month. He was going back and obviously playing at Mount Eliza. What's been the thing with him? Has there been a light bulb moment or something? He's just come on really well.
Mainly resilience.
Yeah.
We always knew Tom could play. Once he came into our program, he was very young in his body and probably in his mind. And we played him in a few practice matches and we liked what we saw. And then one of the great elements of VFL footy is a 23rd player rule, and we were lucky that on our list we had a lot of guys that we could expose to VFL through the 23rd. We didn't feel Tom was quite in that bracket, and then just when he was, he'd get injured, whether it was minor shoulder or a minor hamstring, and we played him from the Box Hill game in round 20, I think it was, and he stood up. 3 of his 4 games, I would say, have been a really strong level. So it's one of the beauties of VFL lists about to find people and emerge from local footy, and as Jack touched on, once again, I'm sure Box Hill are going through the same thing. People wouldn't know the challenges of trying to manage a list of mid to 30s, and when they don't play for you, and you can sometimes offer 7 to 8 spots a week, they all go off and play local. So this year we've dealt with South Montana, Neil Medarnam, Traralgon, Rowville, Sorrento, Mount Eliza, St Bede's Mentone, Mazenod, Noble Park. The list goes on. And Gary O'Sullivan, our footy manager, has done an unbelievable job at coordinating how those players are performing and behaving. And that's a big element of our program. Those measurements of selection are based on how they perform at local, and Freeman's been a great example of that.
Yeah, so logistically it's working because they're coming back better players, aren't they?
That's right. I think Box Hill have done it as well as anyone.
Yeah.
I think they've been a standout club in alignment since its inception in 2000. I was obviously spent a bit of time there at Hawthorn. I know how much investment there is from Hawthorn to Box Hill and vice versa. And these guys keep having players emerge that some of them I've never heard of, and they bob up and play well. So it's a reflection of their program and also the strength of suburban footy going around Melbourne.
For the captains, have there been any of the VFL listed players that have really impressed you this season with their development throughout the year?
Yeah, plenty. I think we had Corey Wagner and Jay Lockhart in the team of the year this year, which is great for them and a great recognition of the years they've had. As Twig mentioned, it's we had guys coming in and performing in and out of the side, but I think the development of the guys has still shone through, whether they've been playing at local or not. So that's the beauty of this year and how it's come about. We spoke about it last night at training. Just the guys that haven't played with us this year but are still playing local or have come in for a few games, their development's still improving, and you can see that coming throughout the year. So from I guess as a captain, that's the best thing you want to see, is that guys are getting the best out of themselves throughout the year.
Yeah. There's a number of guys that have been able to slot into the side and really play a role. That's been one of our focuses this year, is whoever is playing on the weekend, as long as they play their role. But I suppose to individualise a few is probably Tom Maloney. He had a great game on the weekend, but he's been able to really slot into the team and seamlessly. So Braden Kilpatrick, he's had a really good year as well. So there's a number of guys that have been able to play a role for us.
Any final questions from the floor?
So Mitch Gent is a perfect example of what Anthony was just talking about then, as a star player for you last year. I think he found himself out of the team through the middle part of this year. He came back in, kicked that goal to win the game against Geelong, and hasn't really looked back, has he?
No, well, Mitch was a borderline player for us in the middle of the season, and that frustrated him, and I understood it because he's a competitor, but he was able to adjust his game. And he's another club I missed with Bomb Beach. He's back playing at Bomb Beach, but he valued what we value, and he came back in and was able to perform. I don't think he's missed since round 13, and he's found a niche in the team. He's a leader, he's a consistent player. So the model, whilst I think we'd all say development was better for the club perspective, it's shown if you run a good program, your players will still be able to go back and play local and then come back and perform at VFL. So I think it's been a real win for the competition.
Corey Machaia is probably really the other one who came in pretty much mid-season and has had a terrific second half of the year.
Yeah, well, I let Corey Machea down the first half of the year because I didn't pick him. He was very good in the practice matches, and we had 17 and 6, I think, early in the season. It was quite challenging to give guys games, and Machea just kept being the bloke that was a carryover player I'll just miss, and he was playing at Narre Warren. And we played him from Coburg game round 13, I think it was, and hasn't missed, and has emerged as one of the better young forwards in the competition on the VFL list. So there's plenty of great examples from both clubs of some really good quality VFL listed players out there.
Thanks, guys. Just announcing the umpires for the weekend. We've got 8 debutants on Grand Final day. In the field, John Howarth, Paul Revashini and Andrew Talbot. In the emergency, Cameron Dorr. Boundary umpires, Simon Blight, John Cooper, Josh Furman and Sam Stagg. And the goal umpires, Callum Leonard and Simon Plumridge, with the emergency, John Barker. We wish both teams best of luck, Casey and Box Hill Hawks, for this Sunday, 3:20 here at Etihad Stadium. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.